Greetings, travelers, and welcome to another Tempo Storm Wild Meta video, where we highlight decks and strategies you can use to become legendary on the Hearthstone Wild ladder. In this video, we're going to break down Kingsbane Rogue, showing you how this Tier 1 deck operates, what its strengths and weaknesses are, and showing you how to improve your win rate against this deck. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the Tempo Storm YouTube channel to keep up to date with our legendary wild content. As always, before we get into how to attack the deck, let's talk about how it works. Kingsbane Rogue is a product of the synergy between Kingsbane from Kobolds and Catacombs and Raiding Party from Rastakhan's Rumble. Kingsbane is a high durability and low-cost weapon that shuffles itself back into your deck when it's destroyed, while keeping buffs from cards like Deadly Poison and Tinker's Sharpsword Oil. Since the only weapon in the deck is Kingsbane, you're guaranteed to draw it from effects like Cavern Shiny Finder and the combo effect from Raiding Party. The pirates that you also draw from Raiding Party also synergize well with Kingsbane. Those pirates, alongside Patches the Pirate and Ship's Cannon, form a pirate package that let you hit the board and deal damage quickly while buffing Kingsbane into a large recurring threat. Even if you deal with the initial wave of pirates, Kingsbane will eventually grow massive enough to end the game on its own. Sap is Rogue's ace in the hole against big taunts like Voidlord and Obsidian Statue to push through to final swings. If the deck ever gets to the late game, Mira's Unstable Element ensures it draws enough gas to finish things up. Kingsbane Rogue can get started as early as turn 1 by playing a 1-mana pirate to pull Patches, or with the first play being Cavern Shiny Finder on 2 to fetch Kingsbane. However, the real power play starts at 3 mana, when the Rogue can play Ship's Cannon alongside the 1-mana pirate to start to deal damage quickly. Using Preparation, the Rogue can also pull off a lot of combos earlier than normal. After the initial rush, the Rogue will look to use its larger minions to continue to buff its weapon and push more damage. Thanks to Preparation, Rogue has a lot of flexibility with its turns. At the start of the game, Rogue will use Kingsbane to fight for board. As the game progresses, the Rogue will begin to burn down their opponent. Even though the Kingsbane Rogue is a very fast and versatile deck, it still has a few weaknesses you can take advantage of. Here are the 4 vital weaknesses the Kingsbane Rogue has. 1. The deck's linear focus on pirates and Kingsbane makes it especially vulnerable to tech cards. 2. It is heavily reliant on early game pressure. 3. It plays no healing and doesn't deal with opposing boards particularly well. 4. It prioritizes tempo and damage over value and can run out of resources quickly. Now, let's go into how to exploit these weak points and improve your win rate against Kingsbane Rogue. Option 1. Use powerful tech cards. Kingsbane Rogue is heavily reliant on pirates and weapons. Luckily for us, Hearthstone has a wide assortment of tech cards that work well against them. The most visible of these are Weapon Removal and Golakka Crawler. These cards fit best in mid-range or control-style decks that have room for tech cards such as Even Shaman, Odd Warrior, and Reno Lock. When playing these cards, timing is crucial to maximize effectiveness. While it might be tempting to play an Ooze as soon as you see Kingsbane equipped, it's often better to allow the Rogue to use up the first round of Kingsbane charges while the weapon is small on their own, and then break the weapon after they use Cavern Shiny Finder or Raiding Party to draw it again. Unless they have another way to redraw the weapon, the Rogue will be stranded without their most important resource. When it comes to playing Golakka Crawler, it can be tempting to play it against an early Buccaneer or South Sea deckhand, and sometimes it is correct to do so in order to get a strong body on the board quickly. However, if you have other options in the early game, Golakka Crawler can be a massive tempo swing in the mid-game when it can eat a larger threat. Option 2. Be the aggressor. While Kingsbane Rogue can get off to a fast start, its minions are not usually well suited to board management. This leaves the Rogue vulnerable to other aggro decks that play better statted minions to trade effectively while continuing to apply pressure. Odd Paladin's curve of 1-drop into hero power into muster for battle grabs an early foothold with a flood of disposable minions. Murloc Shaman can lead with Murloc Tidecaller into Rockpool Hunter into Cold Light Seer to dominate the board while threatening the Rogue's health total. Aggro Druid also takes advantage of a 1-into-2 curve, then on 3 plays multiple 1s with Mark of the Lotus, again gaining early board dominance and applying pressure. As a bonus, Aggro Druid is well suited to play the aforementioned Golakka Crawler as a synergistic tech to pose a double threat. Since the Rogue is often forced to use Kingsbane to trade into enemy minions, they end up taking significant damage, and since healing options have fallen out of favor in this archetype, if you can position yourself to control the board and win the race, the Rogue can fall easily to counter pressure. Option 3. Focus on early game defense. Understanding Kingsbane Rogue's pacing is a big key in beating the deck consistently. If you're a control deck, it is crucial that you deal with the early wave of pirates as quickly as possible. Failing to do so will leave you vulnerable to massive hits from both sides of Tinker's Sharpsword Oil. If you're playing a reactive deck on ladder and you meet a rogue, mulligan aggressively into your early game removal and any tech cards you have access to. Be sure to find opportunities to heal whenever possible, as you can't afford to be greedy about your health in this matchup. Odd Warrior can use Bash, Ravaging Ghoul, and Shield Slam paired with Tank Up to keep the rogue off the board while continuously gaining armor. Similarly, Jade Druid is looking for Jasper Spellstone, Ferocious Howl, Swipe, and Oaken Summons to gain armor while managing the board. Mind Blast Priest with the Dragon package can play Duskbreaker and Spirit Lash to clear and then develop cheap taunts like Tar Creeper and Twilight Guardian to block Kingsbane as much as possible. As a face-oriented aggro deck, the only ways it can generate value are through the weapon tutor cards and Mira's Unstable Element. So if you're going into the later turns and the rogue has an empty board and an empty hand, you're well on your way to winning. Option 4. Play around Sap. The biggest strength the Kingsbane Rogue has is its excellent matchups against slow decks like Big Priest and even Warlock. If you're on the wrong side of this matchup, it's still possible to improve your win rate against Kingsbane by again keeping in mind the rogue's pacing and game plan. In addition to placing a high priority on early game board and health management, you want to avoid investing your entire turn in playing one large minion, as Sap is the rogue's clean answer to expensive minions. As a Big Priest, turn 6 Shadow Essence can be a liability if you haven't dealt with the rogue's minions first. Even if you pull an Obsidian Statue or Lich King, Sap will eliminate the taunt and allow the rogue to push for lethal. Instead, always prioritize removal and healing, and only play your large threat when the rogue's out of resources. As even Warlock, you have a similar mindset with a different execution. Since you have limited healing, your primary defense is removal and large taunts. Try to avoid any situation where you only have one taunt to block lethal, and look for opportunities to use mass removal like Defile in combination with several cheap taunts, such as Double Molten Giant into Sun Fury Protector. With the right priorities and enough luck, you can turn the game around and overcome the odds. Kingsbane is one of the fastest and scariest decks on the ladder, but with the right tools, you can outwit and outlast the rogue. It's important to gain control of the game early against them, whether it's by dominating the board yourself with minions and pressure of your own, or by using the right removal and tech cards to exhaust them out of resources. With these tips in mind, you're sure to improve your matchup against one of the strongest decks in Wild. As always, if you enjoyed this content, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to keep up with our Wild content. Let us know in the comments what deck you would like us to cover next. See you next time.